Let's talk about a word you see all the time, a word you probably think you know inside and out: rebate. Now, on the surface, sure, it's that little bit of cash you get back. But if you dig just a little deeper, you'll find it has a second life, a much more complex and high-stakes one, in the world of financial trading. Today, we're going to unpack both sides of this really fascinating term. So let's start with a little bit of a riddle. What on earth could a shiny new car and a borrowed stock possibly have in common? I mean, one's a huge consumer purchase, right? The other is this complex thing traders use. But believe it or not, they're linked by one single powerful concept. Any guesses? And the answer is a rebate. Yep, that one word covers both the money you get back after buying something and the fee a trader has to pay to borrow a stock. So in one world, it's a return of your own money, and in another, it's the cost of doing business. This split personality is exactly what we're going to get into. All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to step into the world we all know, the marketplace, and see how rebates work for us, the consumers. Then, we'll immediately compare that to a discount, just to clear things up. After that, we're making a hard pivot into the high-stakes world of Wall Street to see what rebate means there. And finally, we'll bring it all together for the final analysis. Okay, let's start on familiar ground, the consumer marketplace. Here, a rebate is a classic marketing play. Its job is to get you in the door, to get you excited to buy. But the strategy behind it? Oh, it's way more clever than just a simple price cut. So you might be asking, why not just lower the price? Well, it's all about strategy. A rebate is a huge magnet for customers. But the real secret weapon for businesses is something called breakage. That's the calculation that a whole bunch of people just won't get around to mailing in the forms. It's friction. This lets them advertise a super low price while knowing a lot of people will end up paying full price. Plus, it drives other sales. You come in for the TV with the big rebate, but you walk out with a full-price soundbar and all the expensive cables. It's a win-win for them. And this is that classic journey, right? It's designed with intentional hurdles. First, you pay the full price up front. Then, the work is on you. You've got to fill out the paperwork, find the receipt, mail it in. And after all that, you wait. Every single one of these steps is a point where you might just give up, which, from the company's point of view, is all part of the financial model. Okay, now this is absolutely crucial. So many people use rebate and discount like they're the same thing, but they are completely different animals. Let's do a quick head-to-head and see why that is. It really just boils down to three things. First, timing. A discount happens before you pay. It lowers the price right there at the register. A rebate is a refund that comes way after you've already paid in full. Second is the source. Discounts usually come from the retailer, but those big rebates are almost always from the manufacturer. And finally, the most important one, effort. A discount is instant and automatic. A rebate, it makes you work for it. All right, let's switch gears. And I mean, completely. We're leaving the world of retail and heading straight to Wall Street. In this world, a rebate isn't some marketing gimmick. No, it's a critical fee at the very heart of a super complex and pretty risky strategy called short selling. So, to get the rebate here, you first have to understand the main event, short selling. At its core, it's basically making a bet that a company's stock is going to go down in price. A trader will borrow shares that they don't actually own, usually from a big brokerage, and then they immediately sell them on the market. Let me give you a quick example. So a trader borrows 100 shares of a stock when it's trading at $50 a share. They sell them and they get $5,000. Now, if their bet pays off and the stock price drops to, say, $30, they can buy those 100 shares back for just $3,000. They return the shares they borrowed and they get to keep that $2,000 difference. Now, this is where the rebate comes in. The rebate is the fee the short seller has to pay the lender for the privilege of borrowing those shares in the first place. And the harder a stock is to find and borrow, you better believe that rebate fee goes way up. But, and this is a huge but, what happens if the bet goes wrong? This is where short selling gets terrifyingly risky. See, when you buy a stock, the most you can lose is what you paid for it, right? It can't go below zero. But when you short a stock, there is theoretically no limit to how high the price can go, which means your potential loss is infinite. To manage this insane level of risk, regulators have some serious rules. For instance, in the US, there's something called Regulation T. It requires short sellers to put up a ton of collateral in a special margin account. We're talking 150% of the value of the short sale. So if you want to short $10,000 worth of stock, you need to have $15,000 in cash just sitting there as a safety net before you can even start. So the biggest takeaway here is this. If that stock you shorted at $50 suddenly skyrockets to 80, you are on the hook. You have to buy it back at that higher price to return it. And if your losses get too big for your collateral to cover, your broker will hit you with a margin call, forcing you to close your position and take a loss that could be way, way bigger than what you started with. Okay, so we've traveled through two totally different worlds, right? The everyday marketplace and the high-speed world of Wall Street. Now let's bring it all home and put them side by side for a final analysis. This table really just lays it all out perfectly. In the marketplace, a rebate is a marketing tool for consumers, and it needs you to take action. On Wall Street, it's a fee paid by professional traders, and its price is driven by things like stock availability and pure market risk. It's the exact same word, but the purpose, the user, the entire mechanism, they are worlds apart. Exploring the two faces of rebate really leaves us with a final question. It just goes to show how these everyday financial terms can have these secret, complex lives. It really makes you wonder, what other words that we use all the time, like interest or dividend or leverage, have a whole other meaning operating just below the surface? It's a great reminder to always dig a little deeper. Thanks for joining me on this one.